If you have ever spent 5 minutes scrolling through animal battle infographics or watching nature documentaries, you have seen the stats. They show you bite force in pounds per square inch, top speeds in miles per hour, and the massive weight of these creatures. It looks exactly like a character selection screen from a fighting game. We've been taught from a young age that in the wild, the bigger animal wins. It's a simple game of math, right? If animal A weighs 500 pounds and animal B weighs 50 pounds, animal A should win every single time. But if you've ever seen a 5-pound mongoose dismantle a 12-foot king cobra or a wolverine chase a grizzly bear off a kill, you know that the official size stats are a total lie. In the real world, biology does not care about your power rankings. There's a secret variable that the infographics never show you, and it is the reason why the most terrifying things in the bush are often the ones you would think you could kick across a field. Today, we're breaking down the unfair one-on-ones that prove why weight is just a suggestion and why size is the most overrated stat in nature. Before we get into the heavy hitters, we need to address the biggest myth in zoology: the pound-for-pound class. In human boxing, we have strict weight divisions because a 10-pound difference can be the margin between a fair fight and a hospital visit. But nature does not have a referee. Nature has something called the pound-for-pound power ratio. And the undisputed king of this metric is the wolverine. On paper, a wolverine is just a 30-pound overgrown weasel. If you saw one in a parking lot, you might think it's a weird-looking dog. But this creature is built with a skeletal structure that defies logic. Its bones are incredibly dense, and its muscle fibers are packed tighter than any other mammal its size. A wolverine is not just a small predator, it's a concentrated dose of aggression and leverage. When a wolverine goes up against a wolf or even a bear, it's not trying to win a points-based match. It's exploiting the physics of center of gravity. Because it's low to the ground and possesses an insane amount of torque in its neck and forelimbs, it can effectively grapple with animals 5 times its size. This is the first reason why stats are a lie.
Leverage. An animal with a low center of gravity and superior grip strength can negate a weight advantage in seconds. Think of it like a professional wrestler versus a bodybuilder. The bodybuilder is bigger, but the wrestler knows how to use the bodybuilder's own weight to pin them to the dirt. But physical power is only half the story. There is a reason you have seen videos of a tiny honey badger walking into a pride of lions and walking out completely unscathed. It is not because the honey badger is stronger than a lion. That would be a ridiculous claim. A single lion swipe could snap a honey badger's spine. The reason the badger wins the interaction is because of something called the cost of combat. In the wild, there are no doctors. There are no antibiotics. A single deep scratch on a lion's nose can lead to an infection, which leads to an inability to hunt, which leads to starvation. The honey badger knows this. It has evolved a physiological cheat code: loose, thick skin that is nearly a quarter-inch thick around its neck. If a predator grabs a honey badger, the badger can literally turn around inside its own skin and bite the predator's face. For a lion, the reward for eating a honey badger is a small, tough meal. The cost is a potentially life-ending infection or permanent injury to the eyes. The lions do the math and realize the trade-off is terrible. This is the ultimate unfair advantage, being too much of a hassle to kill. In nature, if you make yourself a nightmare to deal with, you effectively jump 3 weight classes. This brings us to a different kind of unfairness: the speed of the nervous system. Enter the mongoose versus the king cobra. This is the classic 1v1 that shouldn't make sense. The cobra is an apex predator with enough neurotoxin to kill an elephant. It has the reach advantage and the one-hit kill potential. But the mongoose has a specialized acetylcholine receptor that makes it essentially immune to cobra venom. Imagine playing a video game where your opponent has a one-shot sniper rifle, but you are wearing a suit that makes bullets bounce off. That is the mongoose. But the real lie in the stats is the reaction time. A human's blink takes about 100 milliseconds. A cobra strike takes about 40 to 50 milliseconds. It is literally faster than the human eye can track. But a mongoose, its reaction time is in the 20 millisecond range. To a mongoose, a cobra's lightning-fast strike looks like it is moving through molasses. The mongoose is not just fast,
It is operating on a different clock speed. It waits for the strike, dodges by a fraction of an inch, and then counterattacks the back of the cobra's skull. It is a masterclass in why agility is the ultimate counter to raw power. If you cannot hit your target, it does not matter if your bite force is 10,000 pounds. Now, let's talk about the absolute lie that is the herbivore tag. When people think of dangerous animals, they think of things with teeth and claws. Wolves, tigers, sharks. They see a hippo and think of a bumbling, water-loving giant that eats grass. This is the most dangerous mistake you could ever make in the wild. Hippos are responsible for more human deaths in Africa than almost any other large mammal. They are essentially 3 tons of pure territorial aggression wrapped in skin that is 2 inches thick. A hippo doesn't need claws. It has 2-foot-long tusks that serve no purpose for eating. They are purely for combat. Their bite force is estimated at 1,800 psi, which is enough to snap a crocodile in half like a dry twig. The stat lie here is the diet category. We assume herbivores are passive because they don't hunt, but a hippo isn't a predator. It's a tank with a hair-triggered temper. It doesn't want to eat you. It wants you to stop existing in its zip code. This is a vital lesson in wildlife education. The most dangerous animal is not the one that is hungry, but the one that feels entitled to a space. Speaking of tanks, we have to look at the ocean's biggest lie: the great white shark versus the orca. For decades, the great white was the undisputed king of the sea in the public imagination. It is a massive, prehistoric killing machine. It has the serrated teeth, the stealth, and the size. But when it meets an orca, the stats of the shark become irrelevant. Why? Because of the IQ gap. An orca is not just a bigger predator. It's a tactical genius. Orcas have discovered a literal glitch in shark biology called tonic immobility. If you flip a shark upside down, its brain enters a trance-like state and it becomes paralyzed. Orcas have been observed ramming great whites from the side to flip them over and then just holding them there until they drown. This is not a fight. It's an execution. It proves that intelligence is a force multiplier that can make even the most feared predator on Earth look like a helpless toy. The orca's size is impressive, but its ability to share information and use physics as a weapon is what makes the 1v1 unfair. It's like putting a world-class chess player in a boxing ring with a professional fighter, but the chess player is also allowed to use a drone strike. This leads us to the smallest, most unfair fighter on the planet, the mantis shrimp.
If we scaled a mantis shrimp up to the size of a human, its punch would have the power of a literal cannonball. Even at its actual size of just a few inches, it can strike with the acceleration of a .22 caliber bullet. The water around its claws actually boils in a process called cavitation because the strike is so fast. This creature can break aquarium glass and shatter the shells of crabs with a single hit. The stat lie here is mass. We assume that to generate power, you need big muscles. But the mantis shrimp uses a biological spring and latch system. It stores energy in its exoskeleton and releases it all at once. It is not using muscle power. It is using mechanical tension. It is a biological catapult. This is why you should never judge a creature by its silhouette. You might be looking at a harmless-looking crustacean, but you are actually standing in front of the fastest kinetic weapon in the animal kingdom. So, why does any of this matter? Because when we look at the wild through the lens of stats and size, we miss the most beautiful part of evolution, the workarounds. Every animal we've discussed has found a way to cheat the system. The wolverine uses leverage. The honey badger uses risk management. The mongoose uses overclocked reaction times. And the orca uses tactical knowledge. They are all proof that in a 1v1, the unfair advantage usually comes from the things you can't measure on a scale. Nature is not a game of who is the biggest. It is a game of who is the most efficient at surviving a confrontation. Sometimes that means having a bite that can crush bone, but more often it means being too fast to hit, too thick-skinned to hurt, or too smart to fight fair. The next time you see a size comparison chart, remember that those numbers are just the starting point. The real story is told in the scars, the speed, and the sheer audacity of creatures that refuse to play by the rules of their weight class. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden mechanics of the wild, make sure to hit that subscribe button.
we're going to keep uncovering the most fascinating and misunderstood parts of the natural world, from the depths of the ocean to the heart of the savannah. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.